So this video is going to be what's sold video for the week of November 1st through November 7th. And this is just going to have my eBay sales because that's the only platform I sold on for this week. I did, however, have quite a few sales, so Quarter4 is definitely ramping up for me, but that's also because after looking at my wall of accountability, thank you, it's also going to largely feature Moxie's butt, so I hope you guys are okay with that. When I worked on my wall of accountability, my sales slowed when I slowed down, so I've been trying to do much better about at least trying to list 3 things a day. Still not doing great on that, but I'm trying. So I'm gonna just scoot over here so that way you guys can still see the lovely Miss Moxie down here while I also show you my sales. So my first sale I'm going to share with you my first sale that I'm going to share with you is this vintage 90s Rafaela linen dress. I am a little bit surprised that this sold when it's so cold outside, but this is again one of the great things to show that even if it's something typically for the summertime, still list it. Like, I list stuff when I list stuff. It doesn't matter what season it is or what kind of item it is, I just list it. If it's holding my interest, I list it. So I'm really happy that this sold for $17 and the buyer paid for shipping, and I hope they enjoy it. This was very typical 90s with that full button front. And I put cottagecore in the title because of the fact that this wasn't a log and look piece because it was too tight, but it does very much fit the I'm gonna be out in the woods in a cottage picking flowers in the springtime type vibe, which is why I put the key title in there. So I have mentioned that eBay changed some item specifics and some item categories last month, and it caused me to have to delist and relist about 60 items in my store because I do sell a lot of vintage ceramic and glass. And I guess I should be grateful for eBay for doing that, because this Noritake sugar and creamer set I have listed for 2 years prior to selling similar due to eBay's change, and it sold within the day of relisting it for my full asking price of $19.87, and the buyer paid for shipping. And my understanding is that that's probably due to the fact that the holidays are coming up and someone is wanting to have a nice table for the holidays. Hello, Miss Moxie. But I'm really glad that it's gone, and I will probably not buy that again because it took 2 years to sell, although we all know I have a vintage ceramic and glass weakness, so if it's about ready to get smashed in trash, I might still buy it and just hold on to it until it finds a new home. 2 years again. These next 2 sales actually went to the same person. I recently went to an estate sale and I found a bunch of vintage ornaments. I will try to remember to link that up above for you guys to see for yourself. But I found a bunch of vintage Austrian mercury glass bell-shaped ornaments, and this woman bought both sets that I had, so a total of 10, and she paid about $20 for each, so she paid $20 for the set of 6 and $19.87 for the set of 4, and then she paid for shipping for both. And I'm really glad that this lady bought them because that meant I could send all the other mercury glass ornaments to my lovely friend Victoria, because she does collect vintage Christmas and I love her face so much. And because this lady bought these 2 sets, I could send her those and she can use them for herself for years to come, because I know she's going to love them. And I adore your face, Victoria, and I'm glad they made it to you safely, and I can't wait for another year of Merry Kitschmas videos. This next sale is from that giant lot of books that I purchased. I do have behind me a bunch of books that I had listed prior to realizing that I could just turn them into Second and Charles. So I'm just going to leave them up because they have been selling, and this is a Elizabeth Lowell book that sold for my full asking price of $1.87. I know, big spender there, but she did pay for shipping. So I'm definitely in the profit now, in addition to my large credit at Second and Charles, which will definitely get used up. Happy about that sale. However, I was sad about this one only because I loved this piece. I legitimately felt torn listing this because y'all know how much I love green. You guys can see plenty of green things in my closet here. And this was a vintage crewel piece, so it's C-R-E-W-E-L. I definitely would, if you are out and about at estate sales or perusing the thrift stores or antique malls, and you see some vintage crewel pieces, it's normally canvas with elaborate embroidery. This is the first time I've seen a green background, but they can be worth quite a bit of money depending on how large they are and how elaborate they are and what decade they're from. This is definitely from the 70s, and I really kind of wanted to keep this, but it sold pretty much within a day of listing it, so I had to let it go at $30, and I paid for $15 for shipping. So I paid $6 for this piece at the estate sale, so I definitely made a pretty nice profit here, and I will be looking for more beautiful crewel pieces in the future. Now, this Tiki Mug sat in my death pile for a very long time. I rediscovered it when I was trying to move some stuff around, and so I listed it, and it sold within about 2 weeks after I listed it for my full asking price of $9.87, and the buyer paid for shipping. I paid $1 for that, so very happy for that sale, and that's moved off to a new home. I then sold 3 Joel Rosenberg books from, again, that previous estate sale, which I'll link that video up above. But they paid $5.61 for 3 of the books, and then of course also for shipping. So I made a nice little profit there. So again, I appreciate all of you giving me a lot of encouragement for that video, that I was gonna figure it out, and I did. And that it was still an okay buy, it just wasn't the great buy that I thought it was gonna be. I then sold this Duluth Trading Company vest for $21, and the buyer paid for shipping. I paid less than $1 for this vest at the Smithfield estate sale, so this was a great sale. I just had to wait for it to get colder again. This Day of the Locust DVD actually went international, so they sent me a note saying thank you for the offer, and I'm like, you're welcome, thank you for buying from me, because this sold for $12.64, and they paid for shipping, and I paid $1 for this, and it sold within less than a week of me listing it. I would also like to thank my lovely friend Second for purchasing this for her hairdresser. This is from Russell D'Alesso. I'm probably butchering that poor man's name. He is an artist up in New England, and I found one of his framed pieces at a thrift store at the DAV. Well, not the DAV. I found this framed piece at the Restore. I think I paid $4 for it, and she bought it for $19.87 and then paid for shipping. She lives in Canada, so I hope your hairdresser loves this and will enjoy it during the holidays or all year round. I know people that keep Christmas decorations up all year round because they love Christmas, and that's perfectly valid. You know, do what makes you happy. So thank you very much, Second. I'm trying not to say your real name because I know your real name. But I appreciate you buying this for me, and again, I hope she loves it. Now, then my most recent haul video, you guys saw me pick this up, and it sold the day I listed it. I went ahead and accepted an offer because, you know, I want that instant gratification. Could I have held out probably for my full asking price? Absolutely, I could have. Would I rather immediately get $180 and some shipping money to pay for my giant purchase? Yes. So I sold this vintage CCM center ice hockey jersey for the Boston Bruins for $180, and they paid for shipping. Again, hockey jerseys, not all sell for this price. This had a lot of things going for it. Mostly that it was a vintage piece from CCM. It was also the center ice authentics also have the back strap that attaches in the back, so that way people can't like pull the jersey off and cover it up and punch them in the body. That's kind of to keep the jersey attached, so that can't happen. But yeah, so this and Geek jerseys are definitely 2 brands I look out for when I'm out thrifting, and I'm glad that that moved so quickly. But yeah. Now, this is a piece that I originally purchased for myself, but it was too big for me. But I'm so glad that it has gone off to a new home, hopefully where they will love it. This is a vintage, like late 90s Y2K era bechamel full button front skirt. Again, very, very 90s. And it sold for $25 and they paid for shipping. And again, I'm sad it didn't fit me, but I'm glad that I made quite a bit of money off of that because I paid, I think, $4 for that skirt. This is another thank you to eBay for making me sell similar for 60 items, because this is another thing that sold thanks to that delist and relist. It is a pair of sterling china airbrush pattern restaurant ware bowls. They sold on offer for $10.94 and the buyer paid for shipping. Again, I love rescuing American restaurant ware because I do feel like it's a part of Americana. And I paid less than $1 for each of these bowls, and I'm glad that they've moved off to a new home. And then the last sale I'm going to share with you is this arts and crafts era vintage piece of Czechoslovakian pottery that was hand painted. I would like to say it is vintage because it is not quite at that 100-year mark. It is 5 years short of antique. If you don't know what the arts and crafts era it technically ended in the early 1930s, and it went from, I believe, 1880 to 1930. I'll put up here if that's the correct dates or not. But this counts as arts and crafts era, and what it was people saying that like true art wasn't available anymore for people to decorate their home. So they like had a new renaissance. Anyway, arts and crafts is a good place to put in the keyword. If you want to learn more about the arts and crafts era, I'll put a link in the description just so y'all can learn more about it. It just is, it's very funny. It's just, it's a bunch of people in the Gilded Age wanting to look rich. Is my interpretation of it as someone who has read a lot about that time period. That's what it feels like to me. It's a bunch of new money wanting to look like old money, in my opinion. But I sold this on offer for $18.65 and the buyer paid for shipping, and I'm glad that it's moved off to a new home. And I knew it would sell pretty quickly. I did have to do a bit of work on this because it was basically the color of my lips inside, and it was supposed to be white inside, so that did take quite a bit of creative cleaning in order to make that happen. But I'm glad it moved off to a new home. So I do hope you enjoyed this. I am glad that I have made quite a few sales for the first week of November. The second week of November is already shaping up to be just as awesome, and I'm very grateful for that. I am also grateful for you all still watching this video and to my 1,570 subscribers. Interesting history fact, the year 1,570 is that Thompson, Snell, and Passmore was founded in July of 1570, and that is considered the oldest law firm. Still in operation, so just so you know. Again, I do hope you're having a wonderful day doing whatever it is you're doing, and until the next video, bye!
Hero,
Bye!
hero, 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 hero. I wanna be a hero, hero. Oh, the hero.